If you're basing your marriage strictly on how good the sex is, your marriage has already failed. A minimum.
Yes.
Minimum. That means at least.
Yes.
That means possibly more.
That means no less than.
No less than 2 times per week. That doesn't mean knock it out like a chore. Oh, let's just do it twice in one day and call it a day.
Mm-mm.
No, that means being intentional.
Yes.
Okay? Being intentional. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter. Obviously, there's I'm not going to go into it, but it doesn't matter if you're tired.
Challenge you.
Yes. It's cute. I'm telling you.
It's cute.
The day we started making sex a priority in our marriage, things changed. We are starting a series on marriage. And who better to do that series with than my amazing, beautiful wife, Antoinette. So we're going to talk about marriage because it's not even just recently, but, over the years, a lot of our married friends have come to us for marriage counsel. It's not because we've been through everything, but I mean, we really have been through a lot. And obviously, 47 years later, we're still married. 17 this year. 17 years this year, we're going to be married. And, our marriage has not been all sunshine and rainbows, for the past 17 years.
What?
It hasn't. It has not been all sunshine and rainbows. It's been amazing. It's been an adventure. It's been learning lessons. It's been a lot. But through those lessons, there's been pain. There's been fights. There's been arguments. There's been all kinds of craziness. And that's what we kind of want to help people navigate through is that unfamiliar territory, because the divorce rate in our country, in the world, is through the roof. Because people, all of these issues that we're about to talk about, there's no help. People either don't know what to tell them, or their first instinct, if they have, friends out in the world, is, oh, don't worry about your man. Come out drinking with us. Let's go party. Let's go have a good time so you can forget about that, that jerk, blah, blah, blah. The guys, bro, come on, let's go out. Let's go find some girls, all that other garbage. It doesn't help anything. It just ends up making things worse. So we're going to talk about marriage and the 5 biggest issues as to why marriages typically end, So the 5 biggest issues as to why marriages fall apart: sex, submitting, not just for the women to the guys, but submitting to your spouse, unrealistic expectations of your spouse, communication or lack of, and finances. Wow. Okay. Kids are important, but obviously there are marriages that don't have kids yet. So I'm not going to include kids in this conversation. So today we're talking about sex. Oh. Okay. Which realistically in the church, it's not talked about. It's almost like it's
like taboo.
I don't know. Yeah. It's like people don't want to talk about sex, but
it's really important.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Why is sex or intimacy between a married couple? I'm stressing married couple.
Yes.
Okay. Why is sex between a married couple so important?
Well, it's something that I kind of was talking about with, the younger adults is I said, don't you think it's funny that when you are single, you have all this pressure to have sex. But yet now on our side, when we're married, it's so hard to have sex.
Yeah.
And I said, that should be a huge red flag, because it's okay, why is it that he's pushing us to when we're not married and keeping us away when we are? So there has to be something. And I truly believe it's the intimacy part. When 2 become 1, it's not just oh, okay, well, when you got married, 2 become 1. No, physically we become 1. And it's God has created a male with needs, and you guys have something that I guess you can say that, you can look at something and react and have a physical reaction. Us as women, we don't have that. We can be oh yeah, we're good. But you guys physically, your body tells you
oh, I see what okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
hey, this is, I'm attracted to this.
So guys, what she's referring to is when we become aroused.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing, and it physically shows when that happens.
But it's because your body is telling you that, I want this, and so now that's an issue if you're saved and you are trying to walk a life of purity and you're not, and your body does this. And if you don't know what to do and you don't realize like what the word of God says, there's a reason why he says, I need you to wait for marriage. After marriage is when we become one. So, now on the woman's side, sometimes we can kind of be like, dang, he doesn't want to have sex with me because he doesn't love me. And that could be very far from the truth.
Extremely far.
Right? But it could also go back into what we talked about before is, stop looking at me like that, is...
You're beautiful. Oh my God. Like, stop. I'm sorry. I'm like... I see like your face, and I'm like...
You're funny.
Man, okay, sorry, go on.
I love you. He threw me off. But it's, we can stop, but that goes back into the love and respect. I will not give you sex if I don't feel loved from you, but you will not give me sex if you don't feel respected.
Dang,
It goes back into, it all goes back into love and respect. And, if I am not giving you what you need and somebody else comes around, that like, is it my fault? Is it your fault? Is it your fault? And I feel like the answer is both. And there's a lot of people who will be like, absolutely not. They should know better.
It's his fault.
True. But if the reality is, if we're both doing what we're supposed to be in the relationship, there wouldn't be an issue. Let's take it biblically. If we are, or, with God, like if we are spending time with God, we're not going to cheat on him.
Dang.
Because we're in his word. We're spending time reading. We're spending time worshiping. We're spending time literally like just praising him. There's no room for error. So that's my part, because he's always there, right? So we can have one spouse, like let's say you're there. You're constantly giving me everything that I need, but I'm not. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go bounce and go do something else. It's not like, now let's change it the other way. If you're not, it's my fault. It's your fault. Like it's both, yes, we should know better. But I mean, we have to understand that there's grace and mercy. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, and I don't care, because I've, I know who I am and I know who God is. And, we got to call it what it is. If you are doing what you're supposed to be doing in a relationship, you won't have any issues. You won't have any problems.
Like, granted, there
there's going to be little things here.
There shouldn't be infidelity. Period. But I guess we can say like that temptation to look other places won't be there if both people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Let me talk to the men for a minute. If you just had a big old tomahawk steak, are you going to look at what McDonald's has on the menu?
Oh, God, no.
Where the tomahawk steak. McDonald's are the other little...
Chicken heads.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets running around. And
you know what I mean?
It's true. No, it's true, 100%.
It's just the truth. Because we're giving you what you need. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be your sex slave. No. But I had a wise woman once tell me, she knows who she is, that we call it homework. Yeah. So anytime we're talking to our married couples, hey, have you guys been doing your homework lately? Because we can sense tension.
Yeah.
And they're like, we ain't had homeworks. And I'm like, well, that's your issue. Go home and take care of business, And it's not that sex fixes all, but there's physically something that happens in our body, and we're able to, it's not an ugly thing. It's quite beautiful to literally be intimate with your spouse and have that time. It's very important. When you start throwing in business and everything else, we tend to push it off.
It's like, at least from a guy's perspective, maybe this can like kind of help like the wives a little bit. It's not like, people make fun of me because like I'm very touchy with you, and like, and my reaction is, well, how would you rather have me be? Like completely ignoring her, not attracted to her, not want to physically just like grab her all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, like, I love like just that physical contact with you.
And
so
it doesn't
like,
mean it's gross. Like,
yeah.
you're not groping me.
Right.
It's a different,
And the thing is, it's like from a guy's perspective, like you said, look, okay, so let's get a little bit more gritty with this, okay? When it comes to the act of sex, okay, there is obviously not just getting to that point after it's done and you feel that release, but like she said, like when a married couple is not initiating in that intimate act of sex with one another, there is that tension that builds up, and it's almost like they don't even hold hands in public. You know, it's like with me and you, it's like we're holding hands, we're hugging, you know, like we still kiss each other. It's like we're not like tugging each other down, but you can tell, you can see those couples that are still like intimate with one another. And it's almost like when they're not, there's that edginess. It's like, you know what I mean? And so, but that's what I really believe that what leads to like infidelity and cheating in marriages, and essentially the demise of a marriage, is when both of them. So when it comes to the sex part, there is a certain level of communication that needs to be had. Like if the guy and both people have to be willing to open up and say, listen, from a sexual standpoint, I'm very sexually frustrated right now, right? And the partner has to be understanding. They can't just be, well, that's all you want. They have to be like, okay, so let's really talk about this, because it's not just, oh, wham, bam, we're done. No, there is because obviously when we were out in the world, you know, when we were having sex with other people before we were married, there was still something that was lacking.
Before we were married.
Yeah.
Even before we got married.
Yeah.
It was
just
100%.
sex. Like there was no intimacy. It was just sex. And there's people who will claim all day long, like, oh, but sex is amazing. Sex is great. I'm like, well, how many sexual partners have you had? If it's that great with that one person, how come you can't stay with that one person?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that takes us deeper though. Just by that comment, because now that goes in, what have you experienced sexually on your screens, whether it's your phones, your computers, you know, that goes into pornography. And because now that kind of takes us into something else, you know, that's going to be one of our other subjects that we're going to talk about. But, you know, that now becomes, when you entertain something like that, now you're expecting something from a woman that is not, you're not going to get in real life.
The false expectations
These
of,
are
of sex. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So, I just feel like it's something that, you know, like you were saying, like it's important, you know, it's very important. And in both ways, we should be able to express like, so, hey, want to lay down? Like, you know, it shouldn't be weird. Like, I really hate, like, you know, we've talked to so many couples and it's like their sex life is non-existent.
Yeah.
And it shows. It shows, and it will spill over into every other area in your life, because now you're frustrated. Let's say I, because we're both in ministry. Let's say we both, well, you're kind of more in a lead than I am, but let's say you're like, man, I'm like, babe, I just don't want to. And I start to react in a certain way. You're going to walk into, whether it's work or, you know, your position, and you're going to be a little bit more irritable.
Angry,
you're going to,
short-tempered,
you know,
edge.
and it's true.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be like, whoa, you had a Snickers today? Like, what's going on with you? You know what I mean? They're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
But then it's just gonna continue, because then you're gonna be shorter with the kids. You're gonna be shorter with, you know, your clients, with, you know, the people that are under you in ministry. And so now it's like, it really is. Okay, so
let's build on that. Let's go over three reasons why sex is important in a marriage. Like, it's crucial. People think, oh, you know, sex isn't really that important. No, let's go over 3 big reasons why sex is like crucial to a healthy, thriving marriage. Okay, so you go first. What's one reason why you believe sex is important?
I want to feel you physically. You know, like touch is very important. And, you know, we can go into like the prison systems. There's a reason why they have solitary confinement. that is punishment because you cannot physically touch anybody. You cannot, and that's not saying they're being like weird, but like physical communication, touching, you know, we need that. God created us that way. And I feel that that's why God created Eve from the rib, is because they were part of each other. There's touch, there's this, and you know, and God had to breathe life into us. Let's think about CPR. If he breathed life into us, he wasn't like far, far away. CPR, you got to be mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
That's physical contact, you know, and there's a reason for that. I mean, I'm sure we can like start breaking things down little by little, like, oh, okay, well, God did this, but he physically went in and took a rib out from the man and then created this woman and breathed life into her. Like this is crazy. Breathe life.
That's interesting because I did not think, granted, I didn't know what you were going to say as far as one of your reasons, but I never would have realized that from a male perspective. I never would have thought that just the physical touch part would be important to you guys.
That's why it's one of the love languages.
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay. So physical touch. All right. I think,
and that doesn't mean crazy touching. Let me just kind of go there. Like you notice, like sometimes I'll just grab you. Like, give me your hand. Like I'll just grab you. Like you can just be standing or sitting, and I'll just grab your pinky.
Yeah.
Like it's just the touch, you know. Or I'll come by and I'll just like, I'll go under your sweater, like all weird, you know. It's just because I want to feel your skin. I want to feel you. Sometimes I love to lay on your chest just to hear your heartbeat. Like it's nothing weird. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, sexual. Let's do all these crazy things. No, it's just touching, knowing that you're there, knowing that you're by my side. It does something to, like, it's like a reassurance. Like he's there.
Wow. Okay. Dang. Okay. So I think from a guy's perspective, I think it's more, I don't know. I can't explain it, but I know, I guess the best way I can kind of like, it's my way of bonding with you. But I don't mean like that's the only way I can bond with you. But to me, that's the most purest, deepest form of bonding that I can do with you, because it's something that like I don't do with anyone else. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's important to me because it's something that I can share with you that is only ours, you know, and it means something to me. You know, most guys who are still single or, you know, out there and you know, doing their thing and sleeping with a whole bunch of people, they're like, oh, it's just sex. I just, you know, want to, you know, get off, get out, and I'm done. To me, it's not like that. Like to me, like even after, like I'm a cuddler, you know, like I wouldn't mind just laying there with you and just talking with you. It's like, you know, like sharing like this really deep, intimate bond, you know, and most guys probably won't admit it, but there's just this amazing feeling that kind of overtakes me. And to me, it solidifies that strength, you know, of a marriage between me and you, you know, on both ends. Now that I know, it reassures, like it gives you that reassurance. And then to me, it almost like lays another layer of concrete down on the foundation of our intimacy, you know, and I'll get into the physical part, you know, but that's one of my reasons, because to me, it's special to me that I get to do this, you know, with my wife, with you, you know, it's something that no one else gets to partake in, you know, because we can give everyone hugs, you know, like in certain cultures, they even kiss on the cheek and whatever it is, fine, whatever. But like the act of sex and intimacy with you is special because like that's ours. Right. That's like our thing, you know? But yeah, that's one thing for me. So I think what we can do is we can do like 3 each.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll do 3 each. Because it's different. I didn't realize this, but like I think and we'll go into this later, but this is why women, we can't assume as men that women are thinking and feeling the same thing we are. You know, you know, my wife may get that urge to where, come on, babe, let's just go have sex sometimes, you know, but guys will tend to feel that. Guys will feel that a lot more, you know. I don't know if it's a primal instinct, whatever you might call it, but we tend to feel that a lot more, you know. But I think with us, it's more of like a physical thing, more of like a raw physical thing than with the female. So I think that's why we can do both 3 and 3. That way it'll give the guys an understanding into the female mindset, and it'll give the women an understanding into our way that we see it.
Well, I'm about to throw a whole wrench into it right now then.
Oh, crap. All right. Go ahead.
It literally, I mean, at least another one for me, I can just look at you and be like, hey, how you doing? Okay, come on, let's go. It is. I'm attracted to you. Like, I literally, you get like such a little girl. It's so funny. But I am attracted to you. Like, let's be real. When we first got together, I was physically attracted to you. I didn't know you spiritually then. I didn't know you at all like that. I was attracted by what I saw on my screen. I was like, I'm going to make that guy mine. Yeah, I was. So I'm still physically attracted to you. You know, you can just say something or do something, or all of a sudden, like, you just come in chest puffed up. I wouldn't say biceps, but you don't work out biceps.
Wow.
Triceps just pop in, like, you just stand there with them big old boulder shoulders, and I'm just like, oh, I got this ring on my finger. Let's go. It's just a physical. Let's go.
Do you see the physical change in my body and my face right now? Ladies, I want you to see. She just spoke to the king in me. Immediately, I'm like, wait, so if I go to the gym and I talk right and I'm not being a douchebag to her, I'm loving her, I could get some.
Wow.
I'm like, but think about that. But it's not just about that. By her simply saying that, it makes me want to be a better man. Think about that for a second. Before you speak to the fool in your husband, think about what just happened. Because you can physically see she turned me into a pile of like Jell-O right now. Just because she spoke to the king in me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go on.
My last one is honestly your confidence. When you are when you are in your word, you change. Your whole demeanor changes. And that makes me very, very attracted to you. And it's like, okay, now it's going to be different, and it's like, I can look at you and be like, dang, okay, he's in his word. Like, like you have this confidence when you walk, when you talk, like there's something completely different. And I know that what I'm going to be receiving is very different. Obviously, we all know there's people like, oh, we just got in this argument. Let's go fix it. Yes, there's times that you can have frustrated, but it's like, is that really what you want? But it's kind of like that. You do need a release. You do physically in a marriage. You do, because sometimes there's tension and you got to just let it up. We've never done anything like that where we've been like, oh, we're crazy mad and let's go. Like, I've never, but after going through some trying times, it's just like that reassurance, like, there you go. That may have been 4 for me. But, it's going back to what I initially said was, when I watch you see who you are and you're walking taller, not slouched over, I always tell him to, like, stand up, bro. Like, you got them boulder shoulders. Let that chest just, like, you have to, because it's like, I don't want somebody who's like, everything's always wrong and let me hunch over. That's not who God created you to be. That's not what he put inside of you. Because if you're hunched over, you think, the world is weighing you down. How are you going to provide and lead me? You cannot lead me from that space.
Okay. So then kind of like circling back to it then, as to why sex is important. What was because after you turned me to mush, my thought process completely went out the window.
It's important to know that you got us.
Oh.
Yeah. And by us, I mean me. Let me clarify that. I'm talking about like general as men and women.
Marriage is men and their women, yes.
Yeah. Like I know that you got me. There's times where, I can tell that you're frustrated, and you're like really just you need some just alone, not alone, it's with me, but like you need that peace. You need something to calm you down,
Yeah.
you know? And so I know that. So I know that I can physically give you something that God has given. I truly believe sex is a tool from God. Literally. Because whether we're happy, sad, angry, whatever it is that we're going through or whatever space or season that we're in at that time, we can come in and still provide you with an intimate part of us that will all of a sudden make you come like, I get it. You come to that realization, like you're at peace. Now you got clarity,
Yeah.
you know? So it's important because now you have clarity, you know?
That's interesting. So before I get into my other two reasons, that's interesting because a lot of women won't come from that posture. They'll be like, nah, I don't care what he's going through. I don't care if he's pissed off. I don't care if he's frustrated. Like, you know, I'm not going to just let him, you know, use me as like a piece of meat, you know, because he's frustrated. But just so you guys know, like, we don't see
not
it that
about
way.
using.
Yeah. In any time that I've ever been like that and we have been intimate together and we've had sex, I have never thought of my wife as just a piece of meat to release my frustrations on. I understand where she's coming from and how you helped me in that. And I'm going to tell you from a husband standpoint, it is very much appreciated because when it comes to leading our home, right? And granted, we lead our home together. But if you look at the structure of things, it's God, the husband, the wife, the kids. Ministry comes dead last. Okay, we'll get into that into another video of how sometimes ministry can really pull apart a family. But we're talking about sex today. So with me, when it comes to the sex part, right? It's also important to me because it makes me, I don't know, just like you said, it gives me the confidence, but it helps me feel more confident knowing that I've been able to give you that satisfaction. And outside of the bedroom, I'm like, dang, like I could do anything. You know, like it's almost like not a cycle, but it's like a revolving door to where if, you know, this happens, like it just builds on it. And this is why, like, for guys, like it's within our nature, not just guys, but male and female. This is why people don't want to talk about it. It's within our nature to want to have sex. Absolutely. Right? To be fruitful and multiply. Right? It's in that. But obviously when you're outside of a marriage and you start doing that with a whole bunch of people, that can lead to all kinds of problems. So that's why we're trying to stick with strictly marriages right now. But the second part, like I was saying, I don't know, it just gives me this kind of confidence, you know, like knowing that, like, man, like I was able to satisfy my wife. Like there's something like about that just makes me feel better as a man. Absolutely. But that in itself, to me, spills over into everything else that I do. Yeah. You know, just like you said. And, you know, I think from a third thing as far as why it would be important to men, I think it's very similar to what you said, is that
you can't copy me. Give your own.
Not that like I'm clubbing her over the head like the Flintstones, like a caveman, but it's more like she's mine. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're mine. Yeah. Like it kind of builds off the first one, but it's like, this is my beautiful wife. Anyone else can look at her.
Stop. I already know.
Anyone else can look at her. Basketball game, whatever. Wow. Anyone else can look at her, but she's mine. And this is something that only I get to enjoy. You know, and from a man's perspective, it feels amazing to know that she is mine and only mine. And in reverse, I am also only hers. And that we get to enjoy each other in ways that like no one else can, you know? And so, all right, so let's talk about a topic that might be a little taboo, because I've been asked.
Sex ain't taboo enough.
No, well, it is, but people have asked us, what's allowed?
We going there. You know, yeah, they've asked us a lot.
Like, I don't want to get too graphic, but like, obviously,
well, I mean, come on, like, we're not going there. Absolutely no other person.
There you go. Thank you.
You
Good.
know, because they think, oh, well, it's fine as long as, first of all, no. Anytime you bring,
I'm gonna say
There-
hell no.
that is absolutely not okay. And from a Christian standpoint, absolutely not. You know, it's not. Don't like, you know, people can say, oh, but there are other, we've heard.
No. Oh my God.
So many things before, and you know, I've given advice and have been like, I strongly encourage you not to do that, because God wants a relationship here.
Yes.
We want a relationship here. God doesn't say, okay, well, you can have your relationship, but you know, bring it this way. Well, we can go here and there. No. He has a relationship with us individually as one, not with other people.
That's like saying, God, I want to be intimate with you. I want to worship
But
you. I want to
really
love you. But
love
Baal,
devil.
I want to bring Baal in to make it interesting, God.
No.
I want to bring Buddha in to make it a little bit more spicy, God.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of switch things up a little bit. Why the hell would someone think that that's going to help spice up a marriage?
Absolutely not. That's an absolute no. But what is allowed is, you know, it's like, what do you guys agree on? It has to be something that's agreed upon.
That's good. Okay.
You know, and it's not going to be like, well, I'm going to go bring, like, come on, you know, you have to communicate. And that's something that we talked about earlier is communication. And that was really hard for me, you know, in the very beginning because, and I'm about to go a little deep, but I was molested as a child, and I was raped on more than one occasion, and those things were very hard for me I didn't know what I liked because I had to be like, what about this affected me in this way, and well, I felt this when that happened to me, so I don't want to feel that again. Like, you know, and that kind of put me in this very weird position because I didn't physically, intimately let you in. And there was, you know, a time that we literally got to just lay there and we put on our old school jams, and it's not the crazy, like, bad songs, you know, but it was like love songs, true love songs. And I do believe as an artist, like, we need that. And I like, we need Christian artists to make love music.
I can't get down to oceans.
No, we physically can't. But see, if we think about it, we're talking about our intimate life with God.
Yeah.
Not with each other. So there is Christian that we should have music that talks about love. The true purity of love.
I'm saying the last time, okay, I'm going to have a whole nother video on inviting Holy Spirit in before. Because
so beautiful.
Man,
Can we just talk about it real quick? Okay,
no.
like, so real quick.
You know, hold on. Before we go into that, okay, I'm gonna set up a whole nother group. Okay, the link will be down below where we're gonna talk a lot more deeper about these things. All right, so if you want, click on the link in the comments. So if you want, click on the link below. And when those videos come up, you'll be able to access those videos. But no.
You sent that early.
That was 30 minutes.
No.
Okay, so let's keep going. All right.
What, you want me to tell the story?
Which one?
About inviting Holy Spirit in?
No, that's later. Now I gotta edit this out. All right, go ahead. We're talking about music.
Oh, Dory.
Yeah, we're laying down, put on our old school
like,
jams.
yeah, we need the music and stuff, you know, but we had a conversation and it was beautiful. Like, you know, we literally just laid there and we were just talking, and then it kind of opened up to a little deeper part of us and our relationship and what we felt and what we wanted and what we like, well, what about this? Like, have you ever thought, like, well, how does this make you feel when this happens? Well, what about when this, like, well, actually, like, this makes me uncomfortable. And, like, we were able to talk in a way sexually,
Yeah.
intimately, and be able to be like, well, I like this. When you did this, this made me feel this way, and I kind of blah, 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 you know? And so I feel like that's very important to, in a marriage, have that conversation. Just shut things down. If you have kids, do it when your kids are at school, you know, but literally just lay there and be in that state of, because we always got something to do. We always got a call. We always got somewhere to be. We always have all these things that are constantly, but it's so important to lay down, be still, and have that conversation with each other where it's like you can talk sexually and be like, hey, this is, you know, when, let's talk sex. Let's talk, you know, what do you like when we make love? You know, like, is it this way, that way, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I truly believe that if it's something that you guys can agree on, go for it. You know, you want to wear a blindfold, go for it. Like you know what I mean? I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of like random things. Like it's not something that's weird. I feel like, you know, you have all these weird sex shops and all these things for that are pushing that like weird, it's disgusting, perverted sex on people. And the truth is, God created it to be something beautiful. Yeah. And that doesn't mean it has to be one way.
Right.
That doesn't mean that it has to be, you know, whatever. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
But, you know, it's have a space of vulnerability and
to tell
really,
each other what, you know, what you like when it comes to the bedroom.
Absolutely, because, you know, it doesn't have to be disgusting.
Yeah.
It's not, you know.
And I think it's important that you said that one, to have that communication, but also it's something that you both agree on. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, from my standpoint, like I would never want to do anything to you that would make you feel uncomfortable. Right. You know, and I think that's huge, you know, for the husbands, like, because the unfortunate thing is a lot of females now in this day and age have gone through what Antoinette had to go through. And there's that weird territory where like...
But they don't talk about
it. They don't, you know, and that's
I have freedom,
hard.
so that's why I can speak openly about it.
Yeah.
Because that's something that God brought me through, and it was like a whoa. I didn't even... My childhood one, I didn't know happened until I started to encounter Holy Spirit in a whole nother way. And he told me everything in detail, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I was kind of blown away that, you know, but it's beautiful to have that relationship with the Holy Spirit, that he can show you things, you know, and to have him walk you through it. Because like me, I had repressed memories. I was not ready back in the day to even know about that, because I truly feel that had I known about what happened to me when I was still in the world, it would have ended very ugly, because I would have went very crazy, you know, because it was a family member, one that was supposed to be trusted and loved, and you know, to have that, and then to later find out that it also happened to another person and to another person. And in my head, I'm like, how could people be so blind, you know, kind of taking this a whole different route right now. But I really feel like there needs to be more communication about when something like this is happening to a person, instead of like, oh, I know that happened. Like, let's say, me being like a daughter, and my mom, let's say I would have told my mom, and she just kind of brushed it, because in the Hispanic culture, they do that. They brush everything under the rug, and they try to act like everything's perfect.
Filipino culture like that too.
And the truth is, it's not, you know? And so if I had that, like, no, mom, this is what happened. If your mom's not trying to listen to you, you need to go to the authorities. You need to go. I wish I would have known when I was younger, because he would not have been able to hurt other people.
Yeah.
And so now I'm a big advocate for that. Like, I don't, and barely starting in the ministry, like God really had me, those were the first word of knowledge that I got was about somebody who was sexually abused, and I was able to speak life into these people. And it was like, how did you know? I'm like, I don't know anything, but God knows everything, and He wants you to heal from that, So I'm able to have victory over that because, I know it's not my fault. I know, regardless of the lies of the enemy, I'm not going to allow the enemy to take something that is so beautiful and so precious, in our marriage that God has given us to turn me into a person that's like, I'm not going to have sex with you because of this and this happened to me and I'm not.
Yeah.
No, that's not your problem. That wasn't even my problem. This person who had a mental issue, because it is a mental issue, that did this to their, family member, that's their problem. But God has healed me in such a beautiful way that now I can be a voice for these people who don't have a voice. Now I can come in and speak about it freely and find out the entire room. It's like 80%, And so it's a beautiful thing to help people get freedom from that.
I think, so for those of you who don't know, my wife will be starting her own podcast soon.
Wow. Way to just solidify that.
I'm not going to give you the name because it's a beautiful, perfect name. When she first told me about it, I'm like, dude, I'm excited. I can't wait. Like, low-key, like, behind the scenes, like, I'm all thinking, dude, like, it can be shot this way, and it could be, like, I have all kinds of, like, plans in my head for this. And I think that is going to be a huge part of it, is you being an advocate for these women who've gone through it, and that's going to be a super powerful episode, and I really can't wait, like, to see that. Thanks. And so, kind of like circling back, this is why it's important to have these conversations about intimacy, because
that was the night we broke everything through.
Yeah,
we talked about it.
Like the breakthrough you can have in your marriage is huge. When you simply just take people assume about us that, like, oh, they're business owners, like, they must be able to, be intimate whenever they want to, sit down, they talk to each other all day. This is probably the most I've gotten to talk with you, like,
2 weeks.
In weeks, because we're so always on the go. But, like, taking that time to speak with your wife, talk to your husband,
We should go back to having dates.
I know.
Remember we would do it once a week.
I know.
Like Satema. I love him. Satema Gali Jr. You literally have
That's actually be another one of our videos, is dating your spouse. Dating your wife. Like, I think that's huge. And we used to do that. We actually used to do that before things got so hectic. But if
now
you
that
don't,
Aiden is grown, it's so amazing.
But that's the thing. And we'll end here. If you don't make time for your spouse,
the enemy will.
The enemy will. And so, so sex, it's a part of marriage. It's a part of our.
Beautiful.
It is. It
so
really
amazing.
is. Dude, you can make another human being. Like, people think, oh, I had sex, I got like 14 kids. Cool. No, you created a human being in an act of love with someone else. Like, that's
what God did with us. I'm gonna cry.
Like, that's like wild. And so
thanks, babe. I love God. Like, I'm sorry.
But this is important. This is why it's important to have God as the center of your foundation, your marriage, your relationship, even your sex life, because a healthy sex life in a marriage, Christian or not, is crucial. But you know what? I will tell you this. If you don't have God, if you don't know God, and you haven't invited God into your marriage, into your family, and into your sex life, you should, because it will completely change your life. It's changed our life, our marriage. It's changed our sex life. It's changed everything for us.
Quick tips. Give it real quick. A minimum of, what did our wise one say to us? A minimum of twice a week.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Okay. So, a minimum.
Yes.
Minimum That means at least.
Yes.
That means possibly more.
That means no less than.
No less than 2 times per week. That doesn't mean knock it out like a chore. Oh, let's just do it twice in one day and call it a day. No, that means being intentional.
Yes.
Okay? Being intentional. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter. Obviously, there's I'm not going to go into it, but it doesn't matter if you're tired.
Challenge you.
Yes. It's cute. I'm telling you.
It's cute.
The day we started making sex a priority in our marriage, things changed. A lot of things changed. A lot of things changed. I honestly believe that our marriage got stronger because we made it a point, we made it a priority to be intimate with one another, you know, and it just shows. It shows like how crucial it is to a marriage and how it can really, it's not the only thing, but it's an important part of making sure that a marriage lasts.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Twice a week. Be vulnerable and
be
open.
vulnerable. Talk to your spouse, you know, about what you both like. Never, under any circumstances, invite another person into your bedroom. Like I gave the reference earlier. If you love God and worship God and he is your everything, that's like saying, God, I want to be intimate with you. I want to read your word, but let me invite all these other faith and religions into it just to kind of make it more interesting because you're not good enough.
No. Ooh, never. Yes, you are, Lord.
You are.
So
God,
good.
he is. He is more than enough. More than enough. But think about it. Like that's the impression you are giving your spouse. Well, what if we bring someone else into it? I don't care who you are, how confident you are. That's the seed you just planted in your spouse's
Absolutely.
head. Don't do that. That is guaranteed your marriage will fail. Don't do that crap. It's not good for you. Okay. Yes. Don't invite no one in. Be intimate. Be vulnerable. At least twice a week. At least twice a week. At least twice a week. And I promise you will see your marriage improve dramatically if you simply prioritize a healthy sex life with your
Have
wife.
fun.
Yes. Yes.
Just have fun.
Have
like,
fun.
seriously, it's not a chore. It's not something where you have to be like military creases, don't mess up the bed. Like, bro, have fun.
Yeah. We're going to
That's your spouse.
We're going to go into more detail in the video down below. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for another episode. Next episode, we're going to be talking about...
Oh, you forgot already.
All the sex talk. Oh. So thank you for watching. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about submission.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's not what you think.
No.
Because I'm gonna leave with this part, okay? Men, especially Christian men, well, in the Bible, it says you're supposed to submit to me. I'm telling you this as a man who loves Jesus. If you are not a godly man worth submitting to you, she does not have to submit to you.
Facts.
Neither should she want to submit to you.
Facts.
God bless you guys.